Welcome to this episode of the Vision Alignment Show, where we all understand and we try to understand how important it is to have our core beliefs, our core values aligned with our vision. Because if we can do that in our day-to-day jobs and our day-to-day lives, then we're going to be more happy. We're going to be more successful. We're going to be more empowered to make other people's lives better. That's exciting. And to understand that we all have blindness in our lives is really the first step in this whole process. And there's somebody that knows a little bit about how important it is to know his core values and his core beliefs and making sure that they are aligned with his mission and his vision is none other than Roy Tuscany. Hey, Roy.
Good morning, Brian. How are you today, sir?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing absolutely great. It's a beautiful day here in Reno, Tahoe. It is bluebird. The sun's coming up. The sun's coming in my room right now. So it's going to be a great start to the day.
Well, that's awesome. I'm so thankful for you being on today. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
Getting up early too. So this is awesome. So
no worries at all.
Roy, let me ask you one question. The first question. And that is, when is your first recollection of knowing your vision?
You know, I had just sustained a spinal cord injury on April 29th of 2006. And in the first coming weeks of that injury, the outpouring support of the communities that I was involved in, from the Sugar Bowl ski team to Vermont, where I was originally from, it really hit me that, you know, whatever I was to do with my life, I had to pay it forward for what others were doing for me at that certain time. And that's when I kind of took this idea of creating a safety net for the outdoor sports community into recollection, into what I started manifesting and creating inside my mind to actually come to reality. So I would say probably 4 weeks after April 29th, 2006, was when I really started to have a clear vision of what I was trying to accomplish, as in the terms of defining pay it forward.
Wow. If you want to hear more, stay right there. What a great story, Roy. I'm so anxious to hear more about it. But before we go there, I want to implore everyone on the call to put in a hashtag of where you're dialing in from. And if you're listening live, put in a hashtag live. If you're listening on replay, put in a hashtag replay. And as always, if you want to be entered into this raffle to win a free signed copy of my book, Sometimes It Does Take a Brain Surgeon, put a picture of yourself in your timeline. And in that picture, I want you to wink. And when you wink, I want you to begin to think, well, if this guy over here, meaning me, knows what makes him unique, and it's not his eye, I wonder what makes me unique. So that's the whole idea behind understanding what makes you unique. And the winking thing, the whole winking with Wagner is really important. So also put a hashtag of winking with Wagner, hashtag winking without Wagner. And then also, if you would, put in a hashtag of Brian with one eye. So thank you for that. we have fun here. And as always, I'll continue to ask to share this video out with as many people as you can think of and make this community as large as possible. So Oh, we've got some friends that are already on this morning. One friend coming in, Ted Legal. Good morning, Ted. It's good to see you. And our friend Eric Bam is here as well. Thank you, Eric. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you. Let's see, and he's got some other stuff to say, but we're ignoring that. Anyway, Roy, this is awesome.
Yes.
So tell
Sir,
me,
sir, yes.
Tell me your story.
Well,
you
want the shortened version? You want the long version? Which version you want here? I got a couple.
Give us the medium version.
All right, medium version. That wasn't one of the choices, but done deal.
I'm noted for that.
So I'm a fifth generation Vermonter who fell in love with skiing at a young age after realizing that there wasn't much to do in the cold winter other than play hockey or skiing. And I only weighed like 47 pounds, so I was like in sixth grade. So skiing naturally was a better choice for me. That led me on to basically use skiing for all the decisions that my life was going to take. In high school, I skied on the high school ski team. I competed competitively in a mobile team. I participated in big air events across the country, had a list of sponsors. And from that, I moved out west and wanted to share my love for skiing with young winter sports enthusiasts. Got a job at the Sugar Bowl Academy and coached there for 2 years. And unfortunately, at the end of 2 years coaching there, I went 130 feet on a 100-foot jump. And I came down from 30 feet in the air, and the resultant impact into the snow burst fractured my T12 vertebrae into my spine, causing paralysis from the belly button down. I was life flighted to Reno, Nevada from Mammoth at the time for emergency surgery to relieve the pressure off my spine and to add stabilization to my spinal cord by adding 2 rods, 2 plates, and 16 screws into my back. And that right then and there was the start to my road to recovery. That road, however, was fueled by the great communities that I was involved in, where I was from Vermont and the academy I was coaching for at Sugar Bowl came together so that for 2 years, I only had to focus on one thing, my recovery. Finances were covered by the fundraising that these communities did. And from that, it really helped me understand something that, I think is the most important value that anybody can do, which is pay it forward. How do you show gratitude towards others? Well, I think the best thing to do is to pay it forward and recognize what others did for you and doing it in a way that is either 1x, 2x, 5x, 100x, whatever it may be. But it's multiplying out what others did for you to pay it forward. And in 2009, the support I received allowed me to have the cast and the start for a nonprofit foundation, a 501c3 called High Fives, which has a mission to prevent life-changing injuries by providing resources and hope that happens in the outdoor sports. The organization started in 2009. 12 years later, here I am talking to you, Brian. And my story is, one that has had many trials and tribulations, the ups, the downs, the positives, the negatives, the highs, the lows. It is not some rainbow painted journey with a unicorn that I got to ride on, but it has given me an idea of how to move forward from that initial vision that I told you that I found 4 weeks after my injury into what is the organization now in 2021.
That is incredible. So how does someone 4 weeks after a major accident, major trauma, how do they know their vision so soon? How'd you do it?
I think what hit me was, I came from a really small, from a small family, from a small town in Vermont where, I'll just be honest, people giving $5, $15, $25,000 was just not a common thing. The whole town probably could have raised $5,000.
Right.
But, where I was located, the affluent families in the Bay, these amounts of money that were gifted towards me to my recovery, which, all went towards the medical costs that were being, basically accumulated from this injury. It just hit me that like, I could say thank you. I could write updates. I could send them a gift in the mail. I could do a lot of different ways to, show and recognize what they had done for me. But at the end of the day, what it really hit me was, wait a second, I'm not the only person who's fall into these shoes. I'm not the only person who's going to wear shoes that have to do with sustaining a life-changing injury in the outdoors. We all love to recreate, especially now. In the last year, outdoor recreation is one of the most popular growing sports, especially with the pandemic and all, and people just wanting to get outside and recreate. But what happens is there's a increase in the number of injuries. So it just hit me that, what, like, what if I could do what all these folks that did for me for others? I was lucky. I had a great community from the kids that I coached and the families that I had a rapport with from coaching at Sugar Bowl. And then growing up in Vermont, I mean, a small town, everyone knows your name. It's like cheers every day. And that to me was something that hit me that says, hey, what if someone doesn't have that? What if someone doesn't have this support network? What if I could create that? What if I could create a network of support that's not only financially, but also mentally, emotionally, and, that would provide, resources, hope, more than anything, hope to those that sustain these life-changing injuries.
Yeah. So I'm assuming Sugar Bowl is a ski resort.
Yeah, Sugar Bowl is a ski resort here in Lake Tahoe, California. It's on the top of Donner Summit, and they have an academy there for really aspiring young winter sports enthusiasts, kids that are pursuing dreams in the Olympics and World Championships of ski racing, snowboarding, and freestyle skiing and big mountain skiing. And so I was a free ride big mountain coach for that program.
Wow. Wow. So and so you had a vision. You realized you knew you needed to do something to serve other people, and that is phenomenal. But how do you manifest that vision? I love what you said earlier about how your I think you said something about something manifested. So you had this idea, and it's so appropriate for what I'm going through right now. I'm working with a coach, and we're working on our vision, my vision, and repeating that vision every day, and talking about here's how I am, here's how it is. Me, I'm standing and I'm so awesome, and I'm so proud and so grateful and all this, because all this is as good as does it happen for me. So it sounds like you did the same thing to a certain extent, right?
Yeah, I think I use this concept that, like, missions, like, drive you, missions direct you, missions provide you with the roadmap to continue doing what you're doing. But a vision to me is an unachievable goal. And what I mean by that is it's a goal that truthfully you should never be able to obtain. You should never be able to check that box off and be like, yep, did it. Because that means that your vision's not big enough. Visions should be something that's so large that helps you not only, guide your day decision, but also your 1 year, your 5 year, your 10 year plans that you have for, for me, for example, is for the organization. With the organization's vision of being the safety net of the outdoor sports community and the leader in education and resources, it's like, well, if we achieve that, then I guess our job's done. Like, we don't have anything. Like, if we cast a net of safety over this entire outdoor sports, well, then my services, my mission is no longer needed because I've completed this task. But that's why I think that vision is so important, because a vision should be something that is an unachievable goal, but it should be a goal that directs everything that you do.
I love that. Unachievable goal. I've never heard that. So there's some people other people that are joining us here this morning. Joy Farley, is it? Yeah. Sorry, I can't see that very well. But and then Ted Legal says a good point. The vision, I think, is what he's talking about. So that is that's perfect. So tell me then and tell everyone that's listening, what is your vision for now?
My vision for right now, for me personally, is to, be the best dad possible. And, like, to me, as, the father of a 20-month-old, that is literally the most important thing to me. But, how do you measure being the great dad possible? So to me, it's just showing up every day and trying to make sure all the needs that he has are being met, while at the same time trying to, be a father figure. And, like, I think that it continues on that idea of a vision of being unachievable, because like, how do you ever check the box of being a great dad? And I think it's, showing up every day, but you got to show up every day. And so that means that tomorrow, if you want to continually achieve that vision of being a great dad, well, you got to show up tomorrow, and that's unachievable because that's in the future. So I think that's kind of like my thought process right now for that one. So my vision right now for me personally is just being the best dad possible. But then from a business standpoint is to continually trying to cast what I now say when people ask me that, hey, how do you keep growing that vision? And to me, I use it and I just add an ER. It's cast a larger net of safety over the outdoor sports community. So it's just adding that ER to it and casting a larger one. There's always going to be someone else to help. There's always going to be someone that gets hurt. And that's why, as long as we continually try to achieve that goal of casting a net, well, it's unachievable because we're always going to want to cast a larger net.
So when you have your vision as it is, and then you make it as big as possible, you begin to see how other people come into your life that you would not have expected before. You have donors, I'm sure, that have come in and you didn't have a relationship with it before, or maybe you've had a relationship but you never expected them to give you money, right?
Yeah.
So how have some things like that happened?
I think that the biggest thing in life is realizing that coincidences are like, I don't know, coincidence. I like, here's a perfect example. So coincidences in life, like it's never a coincidence. It's just, it's supposed to happen. And, a couple of weeks ago, we had lost a really good friend, a veteran who loved Johnny Bravo, the cartoon character. And we did a memorial trip. So we brought 22 of his closest veteran friends to Lake Tahoe and brought him skiing and riding. And a whole bunch of us got Johnny Bravo tattoos, and we had stickers made that, were likeliness of Johnny Bravo and our friend Travis. And here is one thing. If you really think in your mind, how could all of this stack up to this exact moment? So the moment I'm driving to the airport to drop off 3 of the 22 veterans, I pull in, like when you pull into the airport just to do the bag shuffle out on the, you got, unloading, loading, blah, blah, blah. We pull in, and the car in front of us license plate was J Bravo. Now, if you ever want to try to say, okay, coincidence happened, no, there is a perfect example. If you think of all of the things in life, all the lifeline of life that had to get to that point for an individual to have a license plate that said J Bravo, to then be parked in front of us at the Reno Tahoe airport after a 22 veteran trip to celebrate an individual who we referred to as Johnny Bravo there. Well, there's a perfect example of just trying to understand that coincidences, like, they're not, it's never not a coincidence. They're supposed to happen. They're reminders. They're God's little like ticks to say, hey, right, I'm watching. And regardless of what religion you believe in or not, or what higher power, you could say it's a higher power, whatever it is, but it's a higher power saying, I'm watching what you're doing. I really approve of what you're doing. Why don't you keep doing it, because you're on the right path? And so instead of taking those moments when you recognize those things as, oh, that's a coincidence. No, it's not. Yeah. It is literally someone saying, a higher power, check, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. So how does that make you feel when things like that happen?
I think the term is heebie-jeebies, I think is the term. It just, I think when coincidences happen like that, it really helps you realign and reassure that the path you're on is being overseen. And those are the types of things when you're doubting yourself, when you have self-doubt, when things aren't going right, because guess what? Every day you don't get to wake up, pick a unicorn and ride around the unicorn farm. It's just not a part of life. Like, I'm sorry, it doesn't happen like that. But those are those moments when the self-doubt, or you're not quite sure if you're on the right path, or you're not 100% sure if the execution of what you're doing is being the best. It's those coincidences that say, yes, this is a higher power saying, hey, you just recognize this happened, check. Now, what is next? And that's how I continually move myself forward.
Awesome. Yeah, you're talking to it right here, because I'm one of those guys. I mean, I have those self doubts, and I'm sure that other people do as well. So, this is well worth the price of admission right here. You're doing a great job.
Well,
So,
it's just recognizing. I think like that's one of the biggest things is like if you only recognize your self-doubt, if you only recognize your self, failures, well, then you're always going to have failures and doubts. But if you can take those moments and then, absorb what's going on around you and recognize a coincidence or recognize something that's like, wait a second here, it really allows you to check back in with yourself and allows you to step away from being so, ego driven and being more aware driven. And I think that's really where people become more successful is when they are their awareness, what's around them, to be their guiding force than so much what's inside. Because sometimes, the worst, I mean, we all know our worst enemy is in between our ears. That's the worst enemy we have in the world.
right. Right, exactly. And Robert Booker here says, when many of those seeds are planted, come to fruition at once, and they are huge, it seemed as though I was going to wind up underneath one of them. Yeah, Robert. There are so many people on here with so many like-minded ideas, but different ideas. So it's great to have this large community on with us. So, wow, you are amazing, and I love seeing you do what you do. So again, to roll things back here a little bit, you help skiers with adaptive sports, or skiers that are paralyzed, or is there more to it than that?
Yeah. So anybody that's hurt in outdoor sports that are gravity fed, mountain biking, rock climbing, snowboarding, skiing, hiking, climbing. We even had an individual, cross country skiing that had a tree fall on them and, providing that individual support. We first helped them with recovery, helping them with the adherent costs and also connecting them with other like-minded individuals that have sustained a very similar injury so that they know they're not alone out there. And they know that, one of the things that always happens when you have one of these life-changing injuries is you're like, why me? Why did it happen to me? And when you can connect to other people and understand that, there's other folks out there that are in the same shoes as you, just like why I started this foundation, it really helps you realize, okay, this inflicting pain of why did this happen to me? You can start to say, okay, this has happened to others. But then from there, we really like to help them through the recovery and then get them back out into sports. One of the things many people don't realize is that a life-changing injury is not just, it says life-changing because there's many components of your life that are to be changed. And from that, one of the things that is most changed that most people don't realize is your community. Sport is a byproduct of community. When you go skiing, when you go hiking, when you go mountain biking, you usually go with a group of friends or friends. And those relationships, unfortunately, are usually hindered once you have one of these life-changing injuries. That common tie that you have, that common activity is taken away. So one of the biggest things that we have found from a standpoint of, positive mental health and also just positive, overall of that individual is how can we get them back out in the sport? We can figure out an adaptation. We can find an adapted piece of equipment and then provide them with the resources that they need so that they can participate. But when you do that and you get people back into their community through sport, then you see these connections that, were lost that are relived and they're regrown and they're rebirthed. And those are usually some of the, strongest people I know.
Wow. There is so much truth to that. And, I think that I was listening from my own perspective because I have some disabilities as well, but I'm numb on the right side. And so when I step and when we go hiking, my wife and we try to go hiking, and it's hard because, I miss things and I sometimes fall. So it happens. But how do you help people to embrace when they fall, to know that it's okay?
Well, the magic in life is how you get back up. I mean, that's the most honest truth that I think anybody can realize. If you're so afraid of falling, then you're going to always remain on the ground. But if you can understand that a fall allows you to move forward and that magic happens when you stand up, well, then that's how I try to push people forward. You know, someone like yourself, Brian, I would make sure that you have a set of like Lakey walkie poles or something like that so that when you're walking or hiking, you've got that stability. You know, for me, I can't walk long distances. So when I go in the airport, I travel with a cane. And you know, it's usually not something that I'm proud of, but it's something that I need to move forward with. And I say not proud of because it's one less hand that I can carry things with. That's the
Right.
honest truth why I'm not so proud. It's one less bag. It's one less thing I get to pack. But for me, you know, those are the types of things that, you know, I really try to help people understand that it is okay to adapt and to overcome. And that sometimes means in a piece of equipment. It might mean a different type of bracing. It might mean you need to go with two people so that they can hold you up. But regardless, there's always a way to adapt and overcome. And if you allow, you know, how do you create those adaptations to overcome? Well, then that's a victory. And when you can find those types of victories, then you start moving forward. Small victories add up. I believe in 1% a day. I don't believe in 100% turnaround. So I think in the idea of if I can wake up and be 1% better than I was yesterday, instead of trying to miraculously be 100% better than I was yesterday, well, it's achievable. And if you do that for a whole year, it's, you know, 365%, you know, improvement. And that's better than 100%. And it's achievable. And so that's why I always believe in adapting and overcoming.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So Robert says it's nice to fly and not have to wait for that checked luggage. So
Yeah, I agree, but I'm not good at pulling my luggage, so I check it always.
so you have some mobility back.
Yeah, I've got a pretty much working left leg. My right leg, I've got a quad muscle. That's about it. Nothing else in the leg. It's basically skin, bone, and flesh. And that's where a lot of my deficiencies are created because of the instability that exists in my right leg because it's so weak compared to the left. So I do a lot of things that are left leg dominant. The problem is I grew up right-handed and right leg dominant. So, you know, at the ripe age of 24, relearning how to do everything from the left side when you're right side is it's a pretty good task, especially when the right side doesn't really want to work for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm 53 and the right side of me is stopping to work and I'm right hand dominant. So
Yeah.
anyway, I also wanted to make sure we put up your website here. So if the people are interested in learning more about what you're doing, I'm assuming they can go to this website. Is there other places they can go?
Yeah, I mean, we're really active on Instagram. It's one of the social channels that we use the most, which is at HI5S Foundation. So a little bit different from just spelling it completely out. But you know, for us, you know, we really use media to show how we do our work. Um, and that is because of the fact that we think that people are visual now more than ever. So if we can use a piece of visual media, a photo, video, whatever it is, to tell our story, to show our impact, to explain our programs, well, then that to me is so much more useful than trying to get someone to read a document these days or read a letter because it's so much harder to grasp people's attention. So now for me, I use video and media to try to explain everything to everyone.
Awesome. So I'm looking you up on Instagram right now. So it's five, the letter five, right?
Yeah, I threw it up in the private chat between me and you, so you could just copy and paste it.
Oh, okay, cool. Got it. Hey, High Fives Foundation. Got it. Awesome. Yeah. Oh, this is cool. Very cool. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. And so in
No
the
worries.
chat, let's put it up here. And oh my gosh, we are already at the end of our time. Amazing.
This was so quick, Brian. It was so fun
Ah,
chatting with you, man.
this is cool. Um, yeah. So let's see. I'll put it up in a banner. So I'll make sure that we get it up there, and then so other people can see it. But on Instagram, this is what. Oh no, I just messed up. What do you? Oh, let's see here. So at High Fives Foundation, and Is that it?
That's it, sir. You nailed it.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate you getting up early for this.
No
So
worries.
you've got a lot of stuff going on. I haven't even asked you so many questions yet. So would you be willing to come back on someday?
Yeah, totally, man. No problem at all. I get up early every day, so this is not even a big deal. And you let me know, and we can jump right into part 2 and keep going with questions that you have.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Let's see. Some other comments here come in. Direction I want to go in, the visual path. As I create a landing page and offer a building an email list. Awesome. Awesome, Robert. Yeah. So how do you handle your technology needs there, Roy?
My
Do you do all
technology
the
needs?
technology yourself?
No, I have a massive team behind me. I am not a solo. I'm really just loud is all I'm really good at. I've got a really great team behind me that does everything for me because I'm just loud.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you again. I'm gonna wave you off. I'm gonna send you back to the green room. If you would hang out there just for a little bit, I'm gonna come back to you in a little bit after I close out the show. So thank you.
All right, sounds good, sir.
All right. All right. Take care. See ya. Bye, Roy. All right. Wow. 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 What a great show. Oh, Roy Tuscany. Phenomenal resource, phenomenal guy to do what he's doing. You know, I look forward to having more people like him on this show. So if there's anybody that you know of that has a desire to come on the show and have conversations like I'm having with people like Roy, or maybe you know of people that Roy would be a good match for, you know, go have them go out to the High Fives and High Five Foundation and check them out. So thank you so much. I appreciate you being on today. Oh, and there's another comment that came on here. I want to make sure that I recognize anybody else. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate you being on. This was phenomenal. Wow, what a great show. What a great day. And as always, keep one eye on the